Good evening, welcome to the Goffstown Planning Board. This is our regularly scheduled meeting for this Thursday. We will begin as usual with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do our roll call first, starting with Joanne.
Joanne Duffy, Planning and Economic Development Director.
Alice Adams, Select Board Representative.
Philip D'Avanza.
Scott Ozana, Town Engineer.
Tim Redmond.
Colleen Mayu. Barbara Griffin.
Richard Freeman.
David Pierce, an alternate.
Thank you all for coming. Is we missing a full member tonight? Brian, correct?
Brian is not here.
David, you'll be voting on all matters. Correspondence and action items. We have the minutes of January the 9th.
Motion approved.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, do we have to, it looks like it says it was already accepted, or the correction.
No, that was the minutes of December 5th.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Yep.
Okay. The motion's made to accept the minutes as presented. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. We have a recommendation from TBW to release the bond, Woodland Village project off Bach Road. Do you have a report for us on that, Scott or Joanne?
Yes, so Dakota Partners, the original development company that began Woodland Village, is no longer completing the project, reached out a couple weeks ago with the request to release this bond. Initially they asked to have the bond reduced, but then as I dug through old emails from my predecessor, it appeared that there was no reason to reduce it because literally everything that bonded is completed. So
Is all the environmental controls in place, all the grass is growing?
for the most part, there was some area in the center that wasn't, but the new contractor has taken over responsibility, and that wasn't one of the bonded aspects. It was literally just the drainage, all the drainage items, pipe, stone, catch basins, the stormwater, underground detention system. So,
Okay.
and that's all complete and in the ground.
Any questions from board members? Seeing none, could I have a motion for the...
Motion to release the bond?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. We'll talk about this in a little bit. We have a request to serve on the Open Space Ordinance Rewrite Subcommittee as a public member from Betty Vaughn and James Raymond. So we have two members that have asked to be on as citizens at large. And we'll go over that later in the meeting so we can get the applicants out of here first. Joanne, could you tell me what number 4 is?
So, do you know where Cody Park is off of Daniel Plummer Road? One of the buildings, if you go straight down Cody, it's the last building on the right. We have a request from Accurate Grazing Technologies to install a 160 square foot shipping container that would be connected to building 3, and it's a storage of batteries. And the way it was explained to me by Jack, he said that they do certain work in this building where they need a high level of electricity at certain times, and if they were to constantly do that, they would have spikes in the electric. So they've installed, or they plan to install this extra battery pack basically in the shipping container that goes with it. It's not just a standard shipping container. And when they need to do that work, they turn the system on, and that system keeps the energy level so that you don't get the spikes and then they turn it off when they're not using it. The batteries are good for 25 years. They did receive a grant from I think his name is Kraft, the owner of the Patriots,
Well, we
in
don't,
order to do this project, and so they would like to get started on it. I didn't think they needed site plan approval. The building is so tiny, it barely even needs a building permit, because for a building permit, you need over 600 square feet.
well, it's not a building, it's a shipping container, which is mobile.
True, but it will be fastened down.
That's fine.
And the owner of the property is okay with it, and the fire department is okay with it.
Board members, questions whether this is being considered a non-material change as requested by staff?
I agree.
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay, so the board will approve the
Material change.
yeah, thank you, Phil, a non-material change to
I'll
the
make
site
that motion.
to add it.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made to approve the non-material change. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Okay. Is there anything else under correspondence and action items tonight, Joanne?
Yes, I have two other things. So we received a phone call this week from the owner of the Shell station down on the back, not Shell station, I was told that a Shell station, the owner of the gas station
Z1.
down on the back road.
Z1.
Z1.
Yeah.
And he was telling us that he's been plowing since we've had so much snow lately. He's been the only one that's plowing the area around the Tower Lane area. So where he would come in for his gas station and then down towards the Dome and then down towards the self-storage area. And no one else has been doing anything. And he said he's already, contributed a lot of money towards that road, and he doesn't feel that it's right that he's been doing this.
And what did you find when you looked things up?
So I found the...
There's a notice of decision
notice
on
of
everybody's
decision.
table here tonight.
So in the beginning,
Could you
back...
supply Mr. Nazar with a notice of decision, please? Barb?
Back when his site plan was approved, he was the first one in,
Second one was? the
the self-storage. I
The
believe.
storage on the left.
Okay, so if you go to page 2, number 13. Number 13 is the pertinent notice decision for the night. So could you please tell us about number 13,
So
Joanne?
it reads, Tower Lane shall continue to be plowed and maintained as a private roadway by the owner of map 6, lot 1-2, until an agreement has been reached with the owners of the parcels abutting this roadway that is acceptable to the town of Goffstown. And this was done in 2019, and we've never seen or received any agreement or heard anything about an agreement for the maintenance of the roadway. As far as I know,
And did the owners of map 6, lot 1-2 acknowledge this when they received their approvals?
yes, they did.
So,
And since then, they have sold.
well, that doesn't matter, it goes with the parcel. So Tower Lane shall be plowed and maintained by map 6, lot 1-2, which is the self-storage units. So they were supposed to, by condition of approval for their project, take over the plowing and maintenance of it. So at this point, the planning board really has no other authority in the matter.
Well, they're technically in violation of their site plan.
Well, then, if,
It's in violation of the site plan if someone was to raise that as an issue to the town, at which point I think Jack could issue a notice of non-compliance and threat to revoke the occupancy of the lot for failure to comply with provision 13. But
So-
that would mean Mr. Nazar's Tower Lane doesn't get plowed.
well, he
So
could plow
they-
his portion accessing his site.
at
Right,
some-
I don't know, I don't see any reason for him to go beyond his driveway.
Right, and that's what I told him. At some point in time, McDonough sold the property,
to someone else. Scott had a conversation with them, what, a year ago or so?
The
new
storage
owners.
company, Eric was actually the one that they contacted. Their big thing is they want the town to take
Yeah, well, this,
responsibility of the road.
this is still a private road.
Everybody does.
No, and that's, I mean, that's what we've told them.
They can want anything they want at this point.
The road needs to be completed, and then the selectmen can make the decision as to whether to take it over or not. That was how it was from the very beginning.
Right.
And that's what we told them at the time.
Mr. Nazar, would you like to come up? You have anything you'd like to add?
Sure.
Come on up.
I'd like to add a couple of things. For the record, my name is Jack, last name Nasser. I'm the owner of Ella Oil, the gas station on the corner of Gotham Beck Road and Fort Tower, like Tower Lane. In the past, like on 2014, when I approached the town for a permit, they told me I have to do certain things. Wide Gotham Beck Road and install a new pond because the subdivision person, Steve Silverbrook, he was supposed to do all those things, and he didn't do it. So basically, after I asked the engineering, the one that he done all the project right there, the subdivide lots and everything, he said, oh, it doesn't cost you much, like maximum $20,000. On the time,
Excuse me, sir, are we talking about the snow plowing issue tonight or other issues with?
they went shortcut, and the town accepted. Same thing in the past, the town accept bonds from Steve Silverbrook and expire. And I went to talk to the people, the one they bought the storage, they don't have no idea because it's not registered on the deed. Like have to be that letter, the one that insert in the file when the planning board approved that storage, they're supposed to register it and put it on the deed of that property, so whoever buy that property know what he's looking for. Not everybody hiding on everybody to pass stuff, because passing stuff was not gonna get on no places.
Okay.
I went to talk to them, excuse me for a second, I went to talk to them, the lady's threatened me, she gonna call the police on me. So what you want me to do? So fight with them, or spend another $200,000 on lawsuit over there?
We are not responsible for that road after the properties are developed. We don't, planning board has no authority down there.
You do, in one condition. When you let somebody go shortcut, go in the easement instead, go on the right road and pave it and fix it, I believe it's the planning board with respect to the planning board. Because you guys let them go shortcut, they're using now, everybody using the easement. They're not using the main road. And I feel like guilty, I'm standing here in front of Zach, trying to put stick in the wheel. Because it's not right. But I want to defend everybody right there. And I want to defend you guys, town too. But in the same time, if we keep let stuff slide and forgetting about bond, we're going to have issue. Civil issue, and the civil issue doesn't get no place anybody.
Well, the Silverberg bond goes back, how many years, Joanne?
Maybe 20 years.
I was gonna say, it's like
And we've
03 or
correct,
something is
we've
when that
realized
was.
in the past, bonds have been allowed to lapse, and we don't know about it.
I know.
So we've changed our procedures for bonds based on mistakes that were made on projects like that. We no longer do it like that.
And I'm not blaming like the board right now. I'm not blaming nobody, but I'm talking obvious thing happened. So this way we could avoid it in the future.
Right.
I'm not putting blame on anybody right now.
And we're just saying that the planning board is not an agency that enforces the conditions of approval. That is
understand that.
up to the code enforcement officer, I believe, to go out and find a code violation as it's reported to the code violation, to the code officer. So at this point in time, if you're not wanting to discuss this with the new owners, then you need to go to the code violation officer upstairs and file a complaint. He will go on your behalf to see that these conditions are enforced. Because the plan is on file. The people bought the property and they got a copy of their plan when they bought the property, and it's in the conditions of approval. It may not be on the deed, but it's on the conditions of approval. You couldn't write all the conditions of approval on the deed. There's 2 pages of them, and it would be impossible to do that. So I understand your aggravation, but you need to go to the right agency to get this in the upstairs at the code enforcement officer.
There's a big storm coming.
No,
In the meantime-
I'm not just looking just on the snow issues. I'm
I
looking about
understand that,
liabilities.
Mr.
I'm
Mason,
not looking on those like a peanuts, those pennies, like plowing the road to get to my place. It's no big deal. And I'm the only property I have access from Gotham Beck Road.
Yeah, you don't
I'm
need to
talking
do it.
about more than that. I'm talking about liability, about future, about somebody get hit. somebody slipped, that's what I'm talking about. I will plow it, I've been plowing it for the last 7, 8 years.
Well-
I'm not worried about
Well,
those little
I
things,
mean-
but I'm talking about
Well,
liability.
this is
You
what we
decide
were
what you're
told
gonna
by
do.
staff, this is why you were coming in tonight, because
Okay.
of the plowing issue.
No problem, I'm good.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay,
Okay, so
was your other one, Joanne, you had?
So the other one, excuse me, is about the county land.
Do you
So.
have a very brief overview of what the county wants to do, so board members are apprised of the situation?
Yes, so the county received ARPA funds, which they need to spend by December of 2026. And they are currently in the process, they're going to be moving the sheriff's offices to the second floor, and they would like to take the cooperative extension, UNH cooperative extension, and move them into a new building. So the building that they would like to remove is called, I think it's called the cow barn or the pole barn or something. And they
The
would,
cow barn is the big building, that's not the one that
okay,
we're
so then
talking
it's the
about.
pole barn.
The one behind it.
They would like to remove the building and build another structure in its place, the same square footage on the slab itself. And then it would have an extension in the front for like a vestibule with a sign that would say UNH Cooperative Extension. And there would be another small addition off the other side, so it would look, you know, it would match the design would match what they're looking to do. So I met with the county administrator last week, and we talked about, you know, what was that building used for? And he said it was used formally as many things, one being a barn, but for a woodworking shop, storage. He said at one time it was used for offices. And he said he's just looking to relocate. So he's not adding any more people, he's not adding any more parking spaces, but what he is doing is there's a gravel parking lot back there that they use once in a while, and I think he said the rail trail people use it. And when the people are on the rail trail, if they want to park there and start their journey, he said they would be paving it. And they do show on the plans drainage for that particular parking lot. So the problem is that they weren't aware of the governmental use of property, RSA, and they just recently got the plans back and they're ready to go and do what they want to do. However, I mentioned this to them and it won't meet with their timeline. They have to have the bid awarded to Brookstone, and they were supposed to demo the building. That got delayed, and so now they're like really desperate for time. So they have to have everything completely finished and the check handed over to the builders by, I think he said it was like the 27th or something of December of 2026. So after he explained everything to me, I thought at first that he was just taking an existing open barn and turning that into an office building. But he's actually taking a one-story building that's a brick on the facade, and he's turning that into the offices for UNH Cooperative. And there will also be a conference center.
But they're tearing down a building, right?
Correct, and they're
Right.
replacing it with this other building.
And
They're both one
adding
story.
paved parking.
And adding
and-
paved parking.
I mean, and I understand and respect that they have a time crunch they're working under, but like the governmental land use, it's a public hearing, it's a non-binding review and discussion, but it's a process that I think is important because they're coming in, the public can see what they're proposing to do, and we're just putting some transparency and daylight on what they're trying to do. There's not a long lead time, or, I mean, we could have had them on this agenda, and so, I mean,
The problem, it's not so much of getting them onto the agenda, but it says that they need to notify the town at least 60 days prior to the beginning of construction. So we've had the plans themselves, I think building took them in I want to say like a month ago.
Okay.
They
You,
weren't-
you started an email chain on December 19th.
Oh, was it that
And
long
told them
ago?
that they needed to do this, and they kind of said, no, we don't have to do that.
And then they
So-
checked with their attorney, and the attorney, the way the RSA reads, it says that either the governing body or the planning board of the municipality may conduct a public hearing relative to the proposed governmental use. Any such hearing shall be held within 30 days after receipt of notice. A representative of the governmental entity shall present the plans, specifications, etc. And then it talks about the 60 days after that. So, so I
This has to
told
be done by December of what
What?
year?
26.
Barbara, Dave had his hand
Oh,
up.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Joanne, you've had a chance to study all the implications of this request. What is it you're recommending the board do?
So I'm recommending that the board not require the governmental land use hearing. They did have a public hearing already at the county level, and they said that they would have another hearing down there for anyone who was interested in attending. But as far as following this RSA, they said it would not fit in with their timeline.
Barbara?
They don't need to come to the planning board for a demolition permit.
No.
Okay, so they can go ahead with the demolition.
And they can go ahead with moving the sheriff's offices because there's nothing happening other than interior
Right, they're just,
renovations.
that's all interior.
Correct.
So,
It's the building of the new building.
right, so you're telling me that if we put them on the agenda for the next public hearing, that next night that we have time, it doesn't fit in with building a building by December of '26?
That's 2 years.
I'm just telling you what I was told.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we're going to consider following our past practice, and we've required our own town agencies to come in for a governmental hearing. And the county, we were very helpful to the county when we changed the zoning for them. We changed the zoning from agricultural to RSB02 or whatever we changed it to down there to help them with developing all their property. So I think that I certainly think that they should comply with the same rules that everybody else has to comply with. And we'll get them on our next agenda
Okay.
and get it in and out.
So
I don't understand why they can't start, award a contract for demolition. I don't get
They
it.
can get a lot of work done in the next, whatever, before our meeting if they're concerned about timeline. Were you waiting for any responses for them during this 30-day
I
period?
just got it tonight, actually, the question.
When did you request answers? How long ago?
2 days ago.
Not 30 days ago? You didn't have questions that were...
Well,
Well, on
We started
December 19th,
conversation
the
at
email
that
that she
time.
sent basically said, someone came in for a building permit today, and then she listed off the RSA and the governmental review, and then
but they
I'd have to
wanted,
dig through, but they basically said, no, we don't need to do that.
a
Sorry.
building permit, and I told
Yeah.
everyone, like, stop, don't issue anything until I look into this further. And then I didn't know it was that far away.
Yeah,
so-
that was your original, that's this email chain.
And then I've had correspondence back and forth with Chad Monier, and then I actually met with him in person on Friday.
If they want to get a waiver of that 60-day period, they can go ask the Board of Selectmen for a waiver on that if they want to shorten the time frame to meet their guidelines.
And this way they don't have to
Well-
have another public hearing at the county. They can have a
I don't
hearing.
know that the selectmen can do any waivers on an RSA.
Well,
They
I don't
would
want
be
to, I don't
under the
want
statute
to,
unless
I don't
they
want to ignore
don't
the
do it.
RSA as a
Yeah,
planning board.
I just think it's, I mean, they could have been in here last month, like, they could have been done, and I don't want to, my intent isn't like, oh, bring them in here because we want to, I just think it's important to have transparency and to give the public a chance that people are, everybody's going by there on the rail trail, and if people are saying, you know, hey, they're paving this, what are they doing? It's good just for the public and for us to be able to comment on what's going on. So I don't think where it's a big deal, and I don't think it's a big ask, and I think they could have already been in here and been done and gotten comments and been on their merry way. So I think that it's better for them as well, that it's another opportunity for them to put their project out in front of the public and just get some input and do it in this environment. I wouldn't know if there was a public hearing going on down at the county. I wouldn't be aware, so.
Okay.
Any more discussion on it from board members?
I just would like to say, I didn't think that they needed to do it. We let them demolish the old pig barn, or, you know, they've done work down there. They're just replacing, but it sounds like it's not an exact replacement anymore. I thought it was an exact replacement. And paving the parking lot is going to generate discussion. I mean, if they weren't doing anything to the parking lot, I think I'd be inclined to say, let them just replace the building, but.
Have you seen any of the plans?
No.
Jack has, and I have one set that I could, like.
Well, they're adding paved parking and they're also adding a detention area for stormwater.
Correct.
Which, again, we can only make comments on.
Right, we can.
And they can either
Yeah.
listen to us or they can ignore us. It's their right. But we still are allowed to comment on the project in town.
And we do.
So I think, do you want to have a straw poll of board members about whether we should do this or not? Or are we all in agreement to have the county come in? Anybody disagree with having the county come in? Okay, so please ask the county to schedule coming in.
So if you said that email was December 18th? So they.
19th.
19th, I think
19th,
it
they
said.
came in a few days before that, so the problem is that it's not dated. The building permit's not dated.
Just put them on the next agenda. It
Yeah,
shouldn't take
just
more
put
than
them on.
10
Yeah,
minutes.
I
Okay.
agree. Let's get it rolling.
Anything else? Okay, matter is closed. Old business. Map 6, lot, whole bunch of numbers after it. We're back to the commercial vehicle repair facility, Joanne, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything to add new before these folks step up and say anything?
No, the only thing the board should be aware of is what I had highlighted I'm sorry, I highlighted in bold, is that the board, at the last meeting that they were here, the board agreed the applicant will need to submit a waiver for landscaping, which they have done. And the board asked that the trips be added to the site plan, which is under the traffic.
Can I ask about that one, Joanne? And I don't want to interrupt, but just because that struck me, because I know in that discussion we asked about having like the hours of the lighting added to the site plan. I don't recall asking for the trips, and I don't know that we have any enforcement or any reason to add trip generation to
Maybe
the plan.
that was from my notes, and maybe I
Okay.
was mixed up.
I think I recall
Okay.
talking about the hours. It just struck me because I don't know why we would want that or how we would enforce that,
Okay.
but.
Add hours to plan,
Yeah.
okay.
They did add the hours to
The hours
the,
there.
And then,
that was a comment of mine to add the operating hours, and they added them to that report.
and they addressed many of Scott's comments, but you probably want to go through them.
Scott, handle that?
Do we want that now, or?
No,
Okay.
we'll take things in order here.
That did seem a little out of order.
This is the old business.
So the application is complete. Oh, I'm sorry, we already did that. So you're just reopening the hearing.
Yes. Does board member have any questions for staff prior to getting started again? Okay. For the record, tell us who you are.
Good evening, I'm Trevor Yenda with Meridian Land Services. Appreciate everyone taking the time. I guess I'd like to go over the plan revisions and discussions that have happened, I guess, or should we do the waiver first?
Why don't you explain what you want for a waiver?
Okay. So, and I'm assuming you guys have a copy of the request. It pertains to Appendix F of the Landscaping and Screening Standards, Section 2.2, Item A, which is the minimum tree and shrub requirement for sites. The regulation reads that it's 1 tree and 2 shrubs per 5,000 square feet of total lot area. Given that this parcel is about 12.5 acres, this results in 109 trees and 219 shrubs being required. And we're seeking to reduce the number of provided trees to 26 and shrubs to 31. I've got the updated landscaping plan shown here. And I guess when considering the request, we need to adhere to the purpose and intent of the ordinance, which is to protect and preserve the appearance, character, and value of the community. We believe that this request achieves that with less than what is technically required by the rules and regulations. When looking at the requirement based on total lot area, sometimes, especially with a project like this where we're only developing a portion of the parcel, just over 3 acres, and a large portion of the property is either wetlands or will remain forested. You feel that what is going to remain forested will also take into account the screen from certain areas of the property, both to the north and west. I do have a handout for you guys, I guess, just to kind of illustrate a little bit further, and just with an aerial and a blow-up of the site as far as what's going to get removed and what's going to stay. We're leaving about 6.7 acres untouched on this site, which is the hatched area on that exhibit. And then as far as the properties and projects' proximity to either residential or existing developed sites of residential uses, the nearest residential property is actually to the west. I know in the request I had 900 feet, that was a typo, it's about 800 feet to the west of the site. So sufficient screening would be achieved just by the natural vegetation that's both on this property and in between the residential area. And then as far as its setback to both the end of Tower Lane and Goffstown Back Road, again, we're 850 feet off Tower Lane and 1,400 feet off Goffstown Back Road. So in terms of visual impact, I think regardless of the landscaping you have on the site, it's going to be minimal in terms of travelers of those roadways. Additionally, the parcel is abutted by either, there's an agriculturally zoned property to the north that is the cemetery. And then there's obviously the self-storage facility kind of just over the other side of the wetland that again is a commercial industrial flex zone property. The property to the east is vacant. The property to the south is an industrial parcel. It's vacant. We did provide some additional evergreen screening trees along that boundary. If anything's developed there in the future, there will be at least some screening and buffering that would occur in addition to what they would likely need to do if that property's ever developed as well. So that kind of in total, we feel that the proposed trees and shrubs kind of adequately fill out the site, will provide some shade for the parking areas and kind of soften the impact of the building, improve the aesthetics, and that strict conformity of the ordinance would be an unnecessary hardship and the waiver would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the ordinance. So that's the...
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for the applicant, for Trevor, regarding the landscaping statements he's just made for us? We can come back to it later if people want to think about it before we...
I don't need to think about it.
Anybody else have any questions about it?
I'll make it,
Let's wait till we have the public hearing before we act on it.
okay. Just a clarification question.
Please.
On the handout that you did, Trevor,
Yes.
so this is the area, if I look at that, I can see the shrubs here, but you're talking...
the shrubs aren't on that.
Right.
But the shrub...
But this is where you're
correct,
talking
this
about.
is that vacant
That's
industrially
it,
zoned
yeah.
property. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, correct.
No, that's fine.
All right, nothing else on the landscaping waiver from board members or staff? Okay, we'll move on to, there was a lot of engineering comments. Rather than go through them one by one, I will ask the town engineer if he has any report on the answers that were provided for the questions.
I'm for the most part satisfied. The few comments that I had remaining were basically plan edits. So there were some incorrect numbers, some numbers were swapped in a table, some elevations that were incorrect on a detail. So those are all basic, and then the only stormwater report comment that I had remaining was to include the maintenance procedure and schedule for all the BMPs on site. So pretty minimal in terms of comments left. And Trevor had actually, I had sent him these comments a couple of weeks ago, and he's already responded to them to me via email and sent me the maintenance schedule and procedure. So I haven't seen the updated plans, but he basically said no problem, get these done.
Any questions for staff on DPW questions or other questions regarding drainage from board members? So Joanne, I also see we have a list of comments from the fire department. With these comments, on page 4 of the Meridian report, are these comments all been addressed to your satisfaction?
Yes,
Yeah, these are all the old ones, right?
they're old comments.
Well,
The
these are
only,
bills.
the only new one is the Knox
And
box.
I saw that the applicant was, we almost assumed that was gonna be a requirement anyway, so
Yeah.
that the gates on either side will have fire department compliant
Okay.
Knox boxes for their access.
They'll just cut them off if you don't do it.
Right.
And did we have police comments at the last meeting about the security, which is addressed with the fencing?
The comment says it was advisory only.
Right, but it was discussed at the last meeting.
Well, we did bring it up. It was
I
on.
guess if I could, so
Please.
prior to the January 9th hearing, I had reached out, and I didn't know who issued the comments, so I reached out to Chief Sereno, and then we kind of went back and forth. I spoke with Lieutenant Pinard, who did the comments, and he basically told me that he just wanted the applicants to be aware that it's an area, I guess, that there's been issues with
Yeah.
security, and he was wondering if they were gonna do any like motion activated lighting or cameras or things like that. So it was purely an advisory, like FYI type thing, so.
And we have notes on here from your January 22nd meeting with the Conservation Commission. I'll bring up the two subjects. One is snow storage. Could you show us what's going on with that?
Yep, so the issue that the Conservation Commission raised was, we had originally shown the snow storage kind of on the shoulders outside of the paved areas, and their concern was, particularly in the areas that are closer to this large wetland system, that, if we had whatever's gonna be in the plowed snow, if that would melt and essentially bypass the stormwater controls and go into the wetlands. So they wanted to see all of the snow storage shown in such a way where when it melts, it's gonna make it into the drainage system. So what I've done is basically put all the snow storage either within the ponds themselves or on the pavement, so that anything that melts is gonna go through the stormwater system.
Any questions on that from board members? And the second thing they discussed was ensuring use of non-invasive plants for site landscaping?
Yes, so as far as what we're proposing, all of the species are native species. I have added a note to the plan, the landscaping plan, basically referencing a section in Appendix F that says that you can't use invasive species for the DES.
I guess they just wanted to reiterate the point.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the point there. And there were, I guess, a couple other items that they did bring up regarding, they wanted to ensure that the drainage systems were under the standard maintenance agreement and the inspection schedule that we provided. And I don't know if I sent it to you, Joanne, it might have just been to you, Scott, but I can obviously provide an electronic copy of that tomorrow. And then the last question that was raised was, they had asked about what happens with either vehicle parts or vehicles that are being washed inside the building, or, and I guess what kind of containment systems there are for the wash waters. And what TMS does, particularly for the parts washing, is it's a self-contained cabinet that has rotating nozzles that wash the parts, and all the wash water is contained within this device, and then a cleaning contractor comes and pumps the holding tanks out, and it's disposed of accordingly. As far as vehicles go, they have essentially like containment berms that a vehicle can drive on, and then it's a PVC mat where the sides raise up, and anything that's rinsed is collected and absorbed by foam, the foam berm essentially, and then again, the same cleaning contractor would come and pick that up, dispose of it accordingly. So that was the other concern that the cons found.
So it's a completely self-contained system?
Correct, yes, for both parts washing and any rinsing of vehicles or anything like that.
Any questions from board members for the applicant? Bill?
Regarding the lighting plan, when you, towards the back of the plan, you have 3 lights.
Yep, around the perimeter of the.
Right.
Yep.
I understand there's a difference in the distance between the building and the property on the right and the left-hand side, but it almost seems that you might be able to use another light in the lower corner.
Like the southern side, is that?
Correct.
Okay, I mean, we can definitely look at that, and it might even just be a matter of, we could shift one of the,
Right, I understand there's a greater distance between the building and the property line on
Yep.
the north side.
Mm-hmm.
All
Right.
But I just was following up with Chief Serino's, or Lieutenant
Secure.
Bernard's.
Yep.
For that reason, it just seems that might be a little.
Be good to have,
Well, you certainly want the cops to be able to see somebody if they're in the yard down there breaking into your truck, so it doesn't hurt to have extra lights.
Sure, yes, I can definitely, I'll talk with the applicants about that, and even if it's another, wall mounted, or if that pole shifts a certain way or another.
On a motion detector. Or
Sure,
something.
yep. Thank you.
So board members, if they did do a minor change to the lighting plan, can we leave that as an administrative item so they don't have to come back and show us
Yes.
moving of one light?
Agreed.
Agreed, thank you. Anything else for the applicant other than we have to have a public hearing and act on the waiver? All right, Trevor, you can sit tight unless someone wants to come and speak at the public hearing, then I'll ask you to vacate the date table. So we're going to open a public hearing now. If someone would like to speak on this matter, now's the time to come up and speak. Everybody
I'll
good?
say something.
Okay.
David Moore. I'm connected with the Dome. And we were before this board, we did approvals. And at the time, there was discussion about what would happen to the last half of Tower Lane that goes to the cul-de-sac, which I believe accesses this property. And Silverberg was the owner, and it was all agreed that the 3 lots in back would be the people responsible for that portion of the road. And somehow had to get that clear before we could move forward with getting approval. So just want to know who's going to be responsible. Not that we use it, but right now no one's, it just is deteriorating somewhat. And my understanding was the 3 lot owners are going to be responsible for that portion of the road.
Well, I think we can turn you over to Public Works on that, except that it's classified on the site plan as an approved private road, which means that the town has no authority over the maintenance or the control of that road, which we only found out about at the last meeting when the applicant brought this forward, because everyone was under the assumption that this road was always built with the intention of becoming a town road.
And I was part of that, everyone, that's why I'm here.
Well, we had
So-
misinformation ourselves, sir.
So there's a maintenance agreement with Silverberg, I think was the main signer on it, right, Joanne?
Silverberg didn't do anything.
Yeah, but so basically it said that, I want to say it was technically Silverberg that's supposed to maintain the road. is
He's
way
the
it was
owner
written.
of the road.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't do anything with it, he's the actual owner.
Just was curious.
It's too bad the applicant
There could be
didn't bring his
expenses
lawyer
that
back.
come up.
'cause
We'd
she
like to have
explained it
more answers
great.
for you, but we don't have them because we had bad information as well. We
Also-
did not know.
I have a note in a history of Tower Lane that I put together in 2019. And it says, Mr. Silverberg, this was the father, advised me that he is responsible for the completion of Tower Lane. He currently owns 2 lots within this subdivision. His plan is to have whoever purchases those lots complete the road. Both of these lots have been for sale for the past 10 years. That was back in 2019. Now, there were actually 3 lots, not 2 lots. I'm not sure if you've signed off yet on that second lot, but there's 1 lot left owned by Silverberg plus the road. And there's 2 lots that, 1 lot is owned by a company out of Texas that we haven't heard from, and then there's this application here. So, from my understanding, from talking with these owners and, well, I guess it would just be these owners, because I haven't talked to the people in Texas. They were not told when they purchased this land that they would have to maintain the road. So that was never a subject that came up during the real estate transaction. So,
That's
This-
called let the buyer beware.
right. However, the owner, I think the owner was trying to force the issue by not telling anyone, and then all of a sudden, the people now purchase the land and they have
I
to
would
do
confer
something
with
with
that.
it.
I called the broker myself and had someone else call the broker because I don't think he wanted to sell to me, and was very clear to the broker that he needed to disclose to these, whoever ends up buying, about the road issue, and if he didn't, there's probably some liability there on Silverberg's end.
That's a
In
civil
my
matter.
opinion.
I think that's a civil matter. That's out of our hands at this moment.
Also, I've walked the land extensively. I thought there were power lines back there. That's a really private spot. I don't know why they need a lot of landscaping, but that's your thing.
It's an ordinance.
Oh, okay.
You probably had to apply for a waiver for the other
When are you
side as
gonna,
well.
when are
Either
you
way,
gonna
it's-
do your landscaping?
Pardon?
When are you gonna do your landscaping? You still have to do your top coat of asphalt and your landscaping on your site.
Yeah,
You have a temporary CO
Severino
right
put
now.
up a bond for that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Severino has a bond in place for you, for the landscaping.
I'm not familiar with that. I'm not the actual full owner. I'm just a silent
Okay.
partner, not being too silent
You're
tonight.
not being very silent, that's right.
I was just saying, it's very
We've been trying to
private
reach your
setting back there.
partners about that, so that's
Maybe you
kind
could
of
let them know
why.
about that when you're
Yeah.
talking to them silently.
Because every time we've reached out, we kind of
It'd
don't
be nice
get an
it'd be
answer.
nice to get that project finished too.
Fair enough.
We appreciate it.
I just think it was wrong to
Well-
have that property conveyed without resolving the end of that road
It's a
issue.
private road, we can't regulate it.
But
It's classified as a
it was-
private road.
It's classified right now, but when the subdivision was approved, it was supposed to be a public road.
Well,
But it
And when we
wasn't.
did our
That's
approval-
what- That's what we went through last month,
That's not
though.
true, as the applicant's attorney pointed out. That was an approved subdivision and the plan was signed as a private road.
Yeah.
It was never stated that it was gonna become a
It's in
public
the
road.
minutes.
They're off the hook.
Except when we went through permitting, it was led to believe that
Well,
that it would
because
be
we were
different.
ill-informed.
So,
well,
okay.
we require private roads to be built to town standards, so it all gets,
It all gets done supposedly to a town standard.
yeah.
I think ultimately from the last meeting, and it was, what the attorney had presented was very compelling that the planning board at that time had approved this, the road was approved, there's nothing, we don't have any teeth or authority, but it was also clear though that it was a private road and the maintenance of that was to be shared and it was to be worked out between the owners that are, and unfortunately, I think now we do a better job on making sure that that's done in the approval process, but we can't retroactively go back, so.
But if you read the minutes, it says until the
Okay.
town takes it over.
Well, the minutes are the minutes. Whatever's on the document filed with the Registry of Deeds is what we have to go by.
Except that when someone else is going for permitting and they read those minutes, they could be misled by
Well,
which board?
Did the owners of the other lots go to the Registry of Deeds and find out the information that this applicant did? Apparently not. because then there would have been a whole different discussion for you folks. It wasn't us that made that decree.
Okay.
That's how they got the answers they got. They went to the registry.
We were misled
So were we.
when we were through the planning board process. I would love to get a picture of what you got there, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Of what you're reading for. Just, it'd be good to have in our file, because clearly we didn't. And,
What is he talking about, the maintenance agreement?
The timeline that I have
That's not
typed up.
That's an internal document, isn't it, Joanne?
It's public
It's public
information.
information.
Okay, just making sure.
If you're trying to make it a civil matter,
Send me your email.
Do you
I'd like
have,
to-
do you have the waiver, the agreement on the driveway? Why don't you give this to your silent partner here, David?
or that number 13,
Yeah,
I just saw it.
you can have a copy for yourself to take
I
home.
took a
was
picture of it. Thank you. Thank
The
you.
whole paper with you.
Okay.
What did you give him, Barbara?
The waiver of liability for, with Silver Bow.
If you guys are fine with everything you're doing, fine. When we went through the process, I recall it being different.
Well, we regret any mistakes that may have been made, but we didn't make them intentionally to try to punish anyone. We made them based on the information we had as well. It's
Fair
a
enough.
two-way street.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Two-way street. We'll remember that. Thank you.
Could I add one more thing?
But we're not maintaining that street, just
As
so
I
you know.
recall, like when I built my place, I got forced to spend, as I said, over $300,000 to be entering my property. And even Barbara, she was sitting in your seat. And the last time, after I get the second renewal on it, she challenged me. She said, "You're not gonna able to build that gas station." I don't know if she could recall it. And one of the engineering, he's sitting in the back, he could recall it too. So, like, even they didn't let me put on one light. We're talking about safety now and some light. On my property, if you look on the minute, I'm not allowed to put one light in front of my building for safety. I feel like I've been mistreated here in town after all that conversation. And again, I'm not holding anyone responsible, but I know it's a mistake and could happen. But the town mistake was very heavy on me. I could ask that time for 7 years to get exempt from paying taxes when I have to work on Goffstown Back Road and widen it. And I have to pave it twice. And the town engineer was present on the first and the second time. Thank you again. And again, I'm not against him. I love to have him in the back and build his place and move on in his life. I know it's a Steve Silverbrook fault. He passed away. I talked to his son, and he don't believe his son he owned the road. So I don't know what's going on. Like something
Neither
not
do we.
right. I know, definitely. Again, I'm not blaming no one, but sometimes mistake people pay it for somebody else's mistake, and it was heavy on me. That's all. Thank you.
We have no teeth to tie anybody to finish the road, correct, Joanne?
The only teeth that you have is that self-storage has it in their conditions of approval that they're supposed to be maintaining it, and they're not. And so the teeth would be to
Somebody needs to make a complaint.
revoke.
Someone needs to file a complaint that that's not happening, and let the code enforcement officer go to work and go after the self-storage for not following the conditions of approval.
And then if they don't listen to him, then the planning board could revoke
We could have
site plan approval.
a site revocation hearing.
Site revocation for this.
So that's really the only teeth that you have at this point, because the others were not charged with plowing or maintaining. They were just charged with coming together for an agreement, but nothing was sent to any of those owners, from us, saying you need to put this agreement together. That whole thing should have been from the very start. I mean, of course, nobody knew what would happen with it, but it seems to me it would have been better if it was some sort of association of some sort.
Yeah.
But,
Would have been good.
but when it was
You know what would
subdivided,
be
who
good?
knew?
If we required developers across the board to build the road and top coat it before you give them one building permit. That would be the best way to do it.
That's what's supposed
But we
to
don't
be.
have the authority to do that.
You had
So,
a bond.
good luck with that plan.
Could I add one more thing?
As long as it's short.
Yeah, like the storage unit's supposed to go down where Zach building, supposed to pave all the way down there. But they went shortcut with this agreement, and now they're using the easement. They're not using the right road. And I don't feel
Well,
it's like fair for him to pay all that money, or pay again myself the money that I spent it 7 years ago. That's all. I'm trying to defend him as much as I'm defending myself. That's all.
That's correct. So when the
Thank you, I appreciate it.
self-storage facility came in,
That's the second
the
piece.
second piece
I
of
don't
it.
want to drag up all this old
But I
information.
just want the planning board to know this, because it's not right. They came in and they asked if they could use the easement rather than Tower Lane temporarily to get to their site until Tower Lane was completed. And they're still using it to this day. And that's where their entrance is to get into the, for the public to get into the storage units.
Who owns the easement, Joanne?
Steve Silverberg. I'm not
No,
Steve,
no,
I'm sorry.
The way that easement
Jacob
document is
Silverberg.
written is everyone's a beneficiary.
Right.
Right.
Because there's like 4 easements in that whole subdivision, and there's only 1 easement document. So every
Right.
easement is an easement for
For
every person
everyone.
in that subdivision.
All right.
It's very strange.
All right, I want to conclude this matter tonight, please. So, if there's anybody else for the public hearing tonight? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. On the matter of the waiver for board members.
I'd make a motion to approve the waiver from Appendix F, Section 2, Item 2.2, minimum landscaping standard, being that they are maintaining a significant amount of the existing vegetation on the site, and they've added landscaping sufficient to buffer and screen the site from abutting uses.
I'll second.
Motion's been made to approve the landscape waiver request. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes unanimously. Any other items, Joanne?
No, I think that's it.
What about the hydrant that's not working?
Oh, that is actually not part of this site plan. That's another thing that Mr. Silverberg needs to take care of, and the water precinct has been trying to contact him. He hasn't returned calls. They said that they will, it's working now, it's not working great, but it's working, and they need him to replace it.
Where is it on Tower Lane?
It's at the top of Tower Lane.
So it's like if the dome caught fire, it's the one that they would need?
Is there another one along that way?
I don't
Because it's
know.
not like
They're-
close to the
it's-
dome.
That's not on our GIS
It's
system,
fur-
so I
it's
don't know
further
where they
towards
are.
the gas
Is that the
station.
private road?
Yeah.
There's, if I may,
Sure.
there is, so if you go down Tower Lane and take a left towards the cul-de-sac, as that curve starts, it's like right at that first tangent point of the curve.
Is that the
on
one
the
that's,
left.
that's not?
I'm assuming
operating?
that's what, I'm assuming that's.
I just, like,
But
if it's a safety hazard, I think they really need to get that fixed.
It says the fire hydrant on Tower Lane, that's what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not close to this site.
I
It's
understand
closer
that.
to.
I'm just more concerned about the buildings that are currently constructed. They're gonna put a fire hydrant on there, I think it's like right in the front.
Right.
it's in one of the aisles, the front.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of the
something-
islands,
there was
so
something
they'll
in
be
there
all
about
set.
the-
The existing infrastructure that's there is my concern.
And I think, I mean, that's outside of the planning board's purview, but I think that that's obviously something that I would imagine the fire department,
And the village water
Well, yeah, they said they're
Precinct.
working on it.
yeah.
has been working on it.
Does Mr. Silverberg have any land left that he still owns other than, quote, the private road?
Well, there's one
Why
other
not?
lot down
I'm
at the
going to go
bottom.
way out on a limb here. Do we have any way to force him to finish the road by not approving anything on that lot until such improvements are completed? Is that legal for us to do anything like that?
I doubt that he'll come in for his own site plan. He'll probably sell the
No, we
land.
would not approve any, we'd make it clear, we will not approve anything on that site until the road is finished.
Oh.
Because we have been told that he was gonna finish the road, he didn't renew his bond, he pulled the wool over our eyes and got away with it, which I don't like. So there's gotta be a way for us to hold his feet to the fire on a final approval for the final lot he owns.
Something we can leverage. Yeah.
I don't think he owns any more lots.
He doesn't all three.
He sold all 3 lots down there?
When I checked the unofficial record, it looked like the name had been changed on all 3, and I thought they were all in one name.
Okay,
Even if I may, if somebody bought it without knowing, then he will get stuck like us. We'll be in the same boat with us.
Because he wouldn't
He
tell
will ride the train with us too.
No.
Silverberg wouldn't tell them. He was supposed to tell these buyers about it, and he didn't.
And I wouldn't expect this applicant to make a statement on the record, but is there any consideration of trying to get the road finished from TMS? Is that anything they're thinking of, so that the road could actually be accepted by the town? Or is that too far, too much of a fiscal commitment to make a statement about?
I don't think they should even have to answer
All right,
that
that's
given
fine.
the current
That's fine.
circumstances.
Didn't know if there was something in the works that would handle it all, and I could,
So,
it's fine.
so Joanne, I know you have staff recommendation here in front of us, and I've got some questions on some of these recommended conditions of approval. Number 9, Scott, the drainage schedule table, there's a statement at the end of that condition that says the drainage schedule has been updated. So can we eliminate condition 9? It's on
So-
page 7.
I haven't seen the updated table, so
Okay.
that looks like, was that, did you get that from Trevor's email that had the
I think I
responses?
took it from his letter.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen the updated
Okay.
plan,
So
so
we'll keep, I
my
was just,
comments that were in the previous, or the only thing I did get that, if it's in here, was the maintenance schedule and procedure.
okay. I was just trying to see
So
if we could
16.
eliminate any conditions.
Really 16 could come out.
Yeah, because we've got, number 7 is the drainage maintenance agreement, and then also 15 and 16 are both relating to, and I know 15 and 16 came from the conscom. Can we delete 15 and 16 because number 7 covers the maintenance agreement? Do we need to keep 15 and 16, which are basically the same?
16 can go away because I did receive that.
Okay.
Um,
So if we've got the schedule and we know the conscom has asked for the maintenance schedule.
We could get rid of, where was that one?
Well, what about?
Hasn't 14 been taken care of? Didn't you already update the note on invasive? So
Yes.
14
He's
can come
already-
out.
And I think 13 as well can be.
And 13 is the snow storage, which
He-
is on the
he
updated plan.
Talk to us
What
tonight about
about
the
the
snow
language
storage.
on 10?
Have those been corrected, Scott? That you can remember?
That's one of the, it's just a plan edit that needs to be.
Okay, so it's
yeah.
just.
Well, leave it in there if it's not
Well,
done yet.
the other thing we could do is just get rid of all these plan edit ones and just have one comment that says, ensure that DPW's and
I'm-
like
I'm
remaining
fine.
comments are.
I don't have a problem leaving them in
Yeah,
there.
we can leave them. I
Okay.
just, I noticed that it said it's been updated, so I wasn't sure. So I think
Yeah, I
if we
think lose
leave,
that wording.
but if we leave 9, 10, 11, 12, I think 13 and 14 were addressed tonight, so I'd delete 13 and 14.
Yeah, and we can
15
we
and
can
16.
eliminate either 15 or 7. 15 has more information with
Well,
the,
7 is kind of your standard language.
okay.
So I'd rather keep that, and I think it addresses the invasives.
Yeah,
the-
well, he has the note on the plans about the
Yeah.
invasives
So-
too, so, okay, get rid of 15 and 16.
Joanne, is that under the Grassmere Water Precinct management
is,
down there?
yeah.
Because it's in Goffstown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know the town line is only
Yeah, and the
40 feet away.
Yeah.
And the water's coming out of Manchester, down from the back.
Okay,
of
so it is Grassmere.
And then I know we heard from the applicant that they're gonna add the Knox box, but I don't see that note on the plan, so I think if we just add a condition on the Knox box, to satisfaction of the fire department. And that's all I had, thank you.
Any other changes to the plans that have to be made? Do we need to make, Collis, do we need to make a note regarding the statements made by the Trevor related to the environmental washing areas? Is that necessary, or is that just, we consider that for the wash pads for truck washing and such, or Should we just leave that be an honor system?
I don't think it would hurt to have it in there.
So how would you word it?
Well, are you submitting something relative to the fact that it's all self-contained and that the issue you're trying to get at?
Well, I'm just trying to put it on the record.
Yeah. Okay.
So self-contained,
Fully self-contained.
Wash bay and parts cleaning.
Yeah.
Isn't that on the plan?
no.
No, because that's an interior
Yeah, it
of
would
the
be-
building.
Oh, it's not,
Right, it's inside.
it's not construction.
So I guess self-contained wash areas and parts washers will be provided at site. Anything else? So Colleen, I'm gonna let you make the motion because you have the ones that you're going to deduct,
Sure.
scratched,
Yep.
and the ones we're going to add.
So,
I got two there.
okay, so with the findings of fact that the site plan meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance and development regulations, and the applicant has addressed the items in the review with remaining items, administrative items to be addressed, I would recommend, or I'd move to approve the application with the conditions noted in the staff recommendation memorandum. We are deleting from this draft numbers 13, 14, 15, and 16. And we are going to add two conditions. One is that the Knox box will be supplied and installed as requested by the fire department on the gates, and that a self-contained wash area and parts washers be provided at the site.
Do you want to add about the lighting plan may be modified by staff?
I think we're just going to let you just do that.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Colleen, seconded by who?
Fair.
Dave?
Fair.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We're going to take a minute here to get organized and let these folks get out of the room. Remember, folks, we can hear you if you talk in the hallway, so
Thanks, guys.
go on. Please take it out. Joanne, could you give us a brief overview of what this application is?
Sure. The application is, the site itself is located at 69 Bog Road, map 4, lot 68. And they're proposing to subdivide lot 68 into two lots, which would be lot 68-2 and lot 68. The new lot will be serviced by private septic and well. The parent lot consists of 19.793 acres. And the zoning requires a minimum of 1 acre per lot. Both lots meet the requirement. There were two variances that were approved for this lot in July of 2024. One was for the frontage, where 150 feet is required, and the lot actually had 143.51 feet. And the lot width, 150 is required, and 42 is provided. So they have variances for both of those. Staff recommends the board find the application complete with no regional impact, pending the approval of waivers. There are two waivers. One is for site-specific soil mapping, and the other is for underground utilities.
Excuse me.
And DPW has no issues with both of these waivers.
Joanne, it looks like there's also a separate letter for a waiver on stormwater management. Is this just for acceptance purposes?
Yes,
So they've
only,
since-
yeah.
They've since submitted that, but I haven't had a chance to review
Okay,
it.
so
It came
they
out
don't
last
need
week.
that
Yeah.
waiver, that, at least it's check the box.
Yeah, it just hasn't been reviewed by me yet. I've had a busy week and had already submitted my comments by the point that I got it, so.
Joanne, what zone are we in?
This is the R1.
R1. Any questions for staff? Any comments from staff before I open the floor up to our esteemed speaker?
Barbara, you want to do regional impact?
Yeah. Would you like to
Let
make a
me,
motion?
let me just, can I ask I've got the ZBA corrective notice of decision. Can you go through what the variances were for again?
Sure. One was for the frontage,
The
where
153 versus 150,
they needed one.
143 versus 150.
Yeah, and the other was for the lot width, where they have only 42, and 150 is required.
Okay.
And that's for the new lot.
Joan, you didn't tell us about the waivers they're asking for?
Yeah, I mentioned 2 waivers. One is for site-specific soil mapping, which is under section 6L, and the other is for underground utilities, and that can be found under section 6F in the development regs.
And what does it say in section 6F about underground utilities?
Well, normally underground utilities are required.
That's for subdivision for road, isn't it?
I think it's just, the way it's worded, it's just any subdivision, but
It's not specific to just,
yeah,
because
would
this
make
is
sense.
considered a 2-lot subdivision.
yeah. Would make more sense if it were just for a road.
I think that's how it was intended to be
Yeah.
implied, but it failed to make the wording correct, because we talked about increasing our right-of-ways to 60 feet so that the utilities, underground utilities would have enough room to not end up in the ditch lines. And I think that was in conjunction with the,
Okay.
so we might want to change that wording on another town meeting and get that squared away.
We
so
can
don't
do
have
that
to-
when we update the development regulations.
Is that a development regulation? Oh, then we can update that ourselves at another time. We can make a note, we can discuss that there. Thank you. So Barbara, did you give us the standard motion, Barbara?
Joanne, the application is complete.
Yes.
I
No
make a-
regional impact.
I make a motion to find that the application is complete, there's no regional impact, and that we can accept it with the waivers for section 6L and 6F for acknowledging them for acceptance purposes only.
Second. Motion to find this is complete, ready review, no regional impact, and waivers for discussion purposes only. Any discussion of the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. So is there anything else before I turn the floor over? Joanne? Scott, you have anything?
Just,
Want to wait until it's time, or do you want to do a
I'll
preemptive
just-
salvo?
I'll just wait.
Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, my name is Matt Peterson with Keach Marsh and Associates, here representing the proposed 2-lot subdivision at 69 Long Road in Goffstown, New Hampshire. This is going to be kind of repetitive to what Joanne said. There's not a lot to this application here, but I'll just kind of give you an overview. Here's the aerial photo of the site. This is Bog Road. We're approximately about 2,000 feet down from Route 13. I think this was the project you were probably talking about earlier on your bond reductions and stuff like that. I really wish I could have taken that and put that over here, but it wasn't allowed on this piece here. We've got the open field that's kind of down in this location here. This is the house that was subdivided off the 1 acre that you'll see around there. And then you can kind of see the roadway that's already there, and here's the wetland crossing that's already been in place for a while, obviously with the farming that was going on in the back of the property. The total parcel in front of the board tonight is 19.7 acres in size. Again, currently has a single-family home on this. We went to the zoning board, as was just determined, to get the frontage variance for the frontage of the bigger lot, 4-68. This is the 143.51. And then obviously the pinch point right here on the 42 feet was to get the variance for that at that location there. The new lot that we're proposing is with the existing house, will be 1.003 acres in size. And then the remaining lot would be 18.790 acres in size. The other sheets that we have submitted to you was just a topographic subdivision plan. Again, just outlines a little bit more the wetlands on site. These wetlands do travel from the south to the north. However, if you notice the invert of the culvert that was picked up by DPW, it actually flows uphill. So it probably pools a little bit in here and then makes its way to that. One of the requests was to fix that invert so that it's actually going the correct way. And that actually parlays to one of the questions about the new roadway to the back needing to meet NFPA requirements and widening of this road that's been there already. So we are going to have to go through that process. To do that, we would most likely file a permit by notification. I believe we're allowed to do that for this here for a residential lot. Obviously go to the COMCOM, reduces it to about a 10-day window if we can. So we would be going through that process to meet with the DPW comments that they had on the application. What was brought up afterwards there is that we did submit, and I apologize for afterwards, a 60-page drainage report and an exhibit. We show the one single family house in the back here. We've shown approximately 700-foot long driveway to the back. We have shown basically stone drip edge for drainage and stuff like that around the roadway and around the house to deal with the pre and post changes. Obviously, it's 18 acres and we're putting one single family house on it, so it wasn't a huge change of impervious that we're adding to 18 acres. So we're able to do it pretty minusculely without detention ponds and stuff like that. Again, needs to be reviewed by DPW, we understand that. Apologize for getting it later there, but everything is in at this point here. And then we've requested 2 waivers that were outlined beforehand. We would like not to have to do soil mapping of the whole parcel here. Again, it's a single family home. That 18-acre lot doesn't even require state subdivision approval. So there's not really anything we have to do on that lot there to put a single family home on it. We'd really like to not go out and map soils. If any of you have been told lately, there's about 3 people that are doing soils mapping in the state, and it's extremely difficult to get it done right now. It's something that's holding up a lot of our projects, and you'll notice that the AOT just passed, or looking to change the regulations basically to bump the requirements from 100,000 square feet of impact to 200,000 square feet of impact. One of those big reasons is because of the soils and the pre and everything we have to do to meet that, to get that up there in a timeline that it takes away from trying to get things from design to actual construction these days. The second one, and I would agree with the chairman, I fully believe that that was the reason for the utilities to go underground was when you were putting in a roadway, not for one extra single family house. If that is incorrect, we are still asking for the waiver, but I'll hear your comments and concerns that you have with that, but we'd like to have overhead electric to the house in the back. As for the rest of the comments, I got them today, this morning. I know they were done last week. I was out last week and I think it just didn't get sent over. We didn't see any major concerns with the items we had there. Obviously, we'll work with Scott and DPW and work through the comments that are there. He had asked us to relocate the 3 driveways so that they don't come out in one little spot here, so that we kind of just split them up a little bit. So we will take a look at that. And
Yeah, that's, so the second that you make it the new lot, they're already way out of compliance in terms of their layout. So as soon as you make that new lot, it's such a weird situation where you've got that one swooping in, and then it's like 50-something feet wide of pavement. There's supposed to be 40 feet between them, between each driveway, and
Does that require action if the driveways aren't going to be properly separated?
Yeah, where'd you just say? You had pointed out the 10 feet off the property line I could get, but the 40-foot separation.
So 40-foot separations in the zoning ordinance.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm generally opposed to common driveways. But if you were, Matt, to move that so that it's entirely on the parent lot, the smaller one, and have it just fork right there, I suppose I wouldn't complain about a common driveway on that one, because I generally oppose common driveways all the time, but I'll let the board talk about that.
Comment.
I guess I forgot to include that comment,
That's okay.
but it is in the zoning ordinance.
So they have to get a variance to,
No, it's one of the ones in the ordinance that allows conditional use permit.
for
So-
driveways that are less than 40 feet apart?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was just trying to keep them from the zone board.
Yeah, so they wouldn't have to go to it. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot.
So it's a conditional use permit request?
Yes.
So we'll take a look at that. We just misinterpreted the zoning requirement. It said don't use the same driveway. We thought meaning don't continue like they were this way and go out. So that's why we
Yeah.
put another one in there, but
It,
no big
in
deal.
the zoning's ruling, they had a statement that says the driveway for the new lot
Yep.
will not go over the existing driveway. Rather, it would be a new driveway connecting to the street.
Which
So
is
it's
what we
already there.
thought. We just thought this would be it, but it's
Yeah.
okay. If it means at the entrance it's what you're looking for, we'll work it out.
I
Yeah.
like it better though, the way you've drawn it.
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
Do you like all
So each
three
driveway would be on
coming
its own
together and having a
Well, but
wider
each driveway
driveway?
isn't on its own lot.
It would be if they separated it at the bottom.
Look
Well,
on
then
sheet
I
3.
need,
Sheet 3 shows the 3 driveways,
And sheet two, I think.
I mean, if they want to do it this way,
or one of one.
one of one, I'm on one of them.
The
Question.
last
Variance,
page.
they have to do it.
I
Oh,
was
you
gonna
have
say,
one
they
on one.
would need a couple of either waivers or conditional use
Well, the
permits.
zoning variance said that they had to separate the driveways, right?
It,
And what you just read?
it says it,
It needs its own driveway on the road.
The
on
statement is
lot.
the driveway for the new lot will not go over the existing driveway. Rather, it would be a new driveway connected to the street.
yeah.
So then
Stays on at the lot.
So let's see a new driveway on the new lot connected to the street.
Which is what we did. We brought this down and we connected to the street, but it's not even touching the driveway, but it was crossing. We'll work it out with DPW. This is a
Well,
minor.
No,
That'll
I-
end up needing to be 10 feet from the property line.
That's what came back from DPW, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And that was there.
All right, I am completely opposed to this driveway setup.
Yeah, I don't like
I'm just like, this is insane, and, don't get me going on the ZBA approval and the language. This driveway coming out of the new lot goes over the parent lot at the end. It's not a separate entrance. Arguably, you could say ZBA has said, you have 100+ feet here, you're gonna make it its own driveway. I don't know, it would appear that there is still communication with map 4 lot 69 by virtue of this corrective declaration of easement I'm looking at from June of last year. I'm like, what the hell is going on with that access? I'm like,
Does that remain as part of this plan?
I'm seeing it on the sheet, so it remains.
That's where they get access to their lot, yes.
Well, they can get new access to their lot if you want to use that. You're already getting a variance for the frontage. ZBA said it needs to be on that lot. You're going over the lot line and connecting to the parent lot, and you've got this previously existing driveway, and I didn't match the easement up with all the recitals with the map lots. I'm like, no, we would never let people get away with this.
I dug through the old subdivisions through here, and at one point that was supposed to be deeded to lot 4, or map 4, lot 69, and then the paperwork was never filed, so then they did this.
Oh, it's not
easement
just
instead.
us.
Boy, oh boy, it seems to be the theme tonight.
So, Barbara, are you suggesting that the new driveway totally be on the 140-foot frontage?
Yes.
And then one would enter that driveway and then very quickly turn right to go to the barn on the other property?
What are you talking about?
He wants to
Well, instead
combine
of-
the new
Instead of
driveway.
having 3 driveways, it would be, one would come directly off the 143-foot frontage.
Why wouldn't we have 3 driveways? We require
And then-
a driveway on a lot.
No, well, the existing house's driveway, excuse me.
How
And then-
big is lot for map 4?
I will work
lot
with DPW and we'll meet your requirement for, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I got you.
How big is that lot? I don't know. It's
Which
not
one?
on
Which
the-
one?
469, the Perkins lot.
Acre
That's
and a half, it looks like, maybe.
It's a little over an acre?
So one thing that's not on here is the actual house is like right here.
Yeah, the house is right here on the edge of the road. You can
Yeah.
almost hit it if you're not careful.
Yeah. So it
Trying
makes
to-
it a
Perkins
little
house.
tricky for me.
We're trying to
on the
avoid
driveway.
going around that, into that, right now, the existing driveway for the White House.
Come on up to the table, please.
I'm sorry.
We'd like to have your name for the record if you're gonna speak.
Kevin Allard, I'm gonna be helping the Leclercs develop the property. We're trying to avoid where this driveway is so strange, like you said. It's like 100 and something feet long of all pavement. They don't have a typical entrance to the road. The entrance to the road's like over 100 and something feet. But we're trying to avoid going around his barn to start our new driveway.
We got you on that.
So we're trying to go this way to stay off this property and then just go through those 3 buildings. That's the whole idea.
Which were being demolished anyways, right?
Yes.
Yes.
This is something like that.
I think I'm hearing Matt say he understands the issue, he could make the changes to the plan,
Yeah.
address the issue, so let's just do
Let's
it.
let him let's bring him back
Yeah.
corrected with DPW's blessing and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. See, it's already all been worked out. Put it on a piece of paper, Matt.
I just have the visions of all the construction stuff going in and out for the lot and the driveway. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I like
So
it
where you-
better than what you had said going around.
Right.
That was ridiculous.
So Matt, we have no elevations starting at the street. We have elevations when you get on the other side of the wetlands. What is the grade elevation from the 348 that you show as soon as you cut through the wetlands back to the road? Is that going to exceed driveway requirement for slope?
It should be 10%. That's the max.
See where the 348 is?
Yep, right here.
Now from that 348 all the way back down to Bog Road, will that section, I don't have an elevation on my, why, is 350 on the road?
Yeah, 350 is the road.
So it's pretty flat then, in between? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see the 350 until I
That's all right.
was talking about it.
That's not pretty
And then as far as the wetlands section there that is an existing crossing, you're gonna have to widen that, you said, to the NFPA requirement, which means you're gonna have to get some kind of dredge and fill permits with DES to widen the road there and extend the culvert?
Yeah, we'd get a permit that's notice, permit by notification, it's
Right.
called, it's under, it's for single-family homes, that's what they, yeah.
When they put in Evergreen Drive, there was no access to this site given off of Evergreen? I can't, because that's how this site should be accessed.
There's probably houses all along Evergreen.
Yeah, but there are some pretty big
Oh,
lots.
Evergreen's back, yeah, I just gave a proposal.
Probably precluded
Yeah,
any
you wouldn't have
easement.
any, you wouldn't have the crossing, you wouldn't have the driveway issue.
It's private, though, there's lots you can't get to from there, though.
I know, but it's only one.
The existing well with the existing house, I know it's close to the property line, is that gonna need a well release, now that the radius is
Nope,
gonna
because they
be-
changed the rules.
Oh.
DES changed the rules on
Radius
well
no
radiuses.
longer,
As
big
long
of
as
a
you,
dump
the
site.
well radius ends at the property line. Read the,
Except for with septics, I think, right? It's still.
read the new well radius rules before you
Okay.
give us an answer on that one.
I didn't know about this.
The only thing is if it's closer than 75 feet to the road, then
That's
you need
not-
a
Then you need
salt
the release from the
waiver
town, yeah.
to the town of
Yeah, I figured.
Goffstown.
yeah, that's something different.
Because you're subdividing it now you'll have to grant a waiver if that's within 75 feet of the town road.
Of the road, yep, it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
This parcel does not front Evergreen.
No, I know, I'm just a little
She wanted me to
surprised
buy a
when
lot.
that development, that,
You gotta buy a house in Evergreen and make a road into there.
when that
if you
was
wanna
put
do
in,
that.
and this was back when this was all farmland, and that was where
Don't
the
worry, the
access
house
should
is
come
only
in.
$700,000.
All right.
And they love giving easements between
I
houses
know.
now, too.
So, Matt, are you looking for a consensus on the soil mapping and the utilities, or are we looking to act on those tonight, or are we?
Nope, we have to have a public hearing, we're gonna have another meeting, which means that we will act on them at the second meeting, in case someone comes to the second meeting. I think it's pretty clear that they're reasonable requests. Phil, you're being quiet tonight, what's up? Okay.
Raining and miserable all day.
They're gonna be three
No, I
separate,
know.
they're gonna be
Ice
three
cream
separate
home.
driveways when it's all squared away.
I know.
You weren't climbing any ladders today, were you?
No.
Okay.
Board members have any questions or guidance for the applicant at this point? Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody wish to speak on this application tonight? Are you all together out there?
No, just us two, I'm sorry.
Okay, are you here to speak on the application tonight?
I'm in the butter.
Would you like to speak on the application? It's a public hearing right now.
No, nobody tells anybody abutting what is going on, so I'm literally just here to see this and find out what is going on in this place.
So you're good for now? I mean, we're having another meeting, you still have time to speak at the next meeting,
Okay,
okay?
no, I appreciate it.
So I'm going to close the public hearing. What are the unresolved issues, Joanne? The driveways, obviously.
Driveways, and then Scott has a list.
So, do you have all his
I
Scott's
have his
comments?
list, yep,
Will you have the comments addressed on the plan by the next meeting?
absolutely.
By the next meeting?
Well, we do it 2 weeks.
February 13th.
Whenever he's coming back.
I mean, March
I was gonna
13th.
say March, yeah, I was gonna say 2 weeks I won't, but
Yeah, that's why, okay.
Just wanted to find out.
Yep.
Let me,
It'll be a packed agenda.
let me see.
I just have a quick question about the,
Yeah.
Come on back
we
up.
need to have one first. They'll both be
That's
old
just the
business.
Acorn.
Yeah, if this comes back as old business on the 13th, it needs to go before Acorn.
big thing with them.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
That was Acorn's.
You don't want them to sit through this? Through that?
Normally, you wouldn't do that, but we can adjust the schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, it's old business, it's not like I'm trying to shift new and old,
No, because this should be a fairly easy one to do.
if they meet all the requirements.
So if you come back on the March the 13th, would you figure that you're going to have everything addressed and we can have everything buttoned up fairly reasonably?
I would assume, yes, I would think you could prove it tonight if you wanted to.
You love
Of
it.
course you would.
Christmas isn't.
You're gonna ask me
Christmas
questions, I'm allowed
isn't
to
10 months.
He'll work it out, don't worry about it.
All right. And any other issues would be administrative, and if we get these substantive issues taken care of, I guess.
I don't have any issues with the waivers.
Does this have to go before conservation?
We would like to so that we can get an expedited more. If we don't give it to conservation, then it's a 30 days, I think, on that permit. If we go to conservation, it reduces like 10 days.
Do
so.
you have it, are you on the conservation
We
agenda?
just found this out today.
So when is the next conservation meeting, Joanne?
Well, I don't know that they can,
It's the
Okay.
fourth Wednesday of the month.
So that is when? Next
so,
week?
so,
Either
2 weeks.
It's, I think
so
it's the
call Patty
26th.
tomorrow.
Will he be able to get on the agenda, do you imagine?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, Patty.
Just
Okay.
talk to Patty.
So good, so that'll
She likes me.
get that,
That's what you think.
yeah, you, she likes everybody to think that.
This is true. I would agree with that.
Okay, anything else for these folks?
Can I make a motion to continue the application to March
You can
13th?
please do that.
Second.
To March 13th? We do not need to waive the 65-day clock at this point? Anybody? Joanne?
No.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of continuing this to 3/13 of '25, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes.
Thank you. See you in a month. Drive safe tonight going home. It's gonna be a little icy.
Yeah, it's slippery.
Okay.
I know, today it was fine.
We have the business of the committee for the Open Space Ordinance Rewrite Subcommittee.
Yes.
The two people that have asked to be on as public members are Betty Vaughn and James Raymond, so action needed on approving them to be on the committee.
Motion to approve both.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
No,
So, wait, one
no,
second.
we're not even
So,
close.
so Bruce Buttrick, I think that's how you pronounce his name, has been appointed from ZBA. Evelyn Miller and David Neiman have been appointed from the Conservation Commission.
Right.
And now you just need to appoint 2 planning board members.
I think Collis volunteered, right?
Did you volunteer?
Tim volunteered before it, so yeah.
But
But you're,
Collis is not
you
gonna be
won't-
on the board.
yeah.
Well, it's-
Collis is becoming a
There's
man
gotta
of
be a transition
leisure.
plan that has to be put in place because there's other issues.
What?
Well,
I thought you were gonna come on from conservation, honestly.
well, there's a river advisor, there's other things that I'm on, river advisory.
I mean, you're gonna be there anyways, right?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're gonna be there.
Derek and I have already had conversations about making sure that there's a logical transition.
Okay, I don't quite understand what that means, but, okay.
So who is the ZBA member?
Bruce Butler.
Bruce Buttrick.
And the planning board members are gonna be, who's gonna be on from planning board? Colleen, did you say you had an interest in it?
Yeah, I'll do it. The scheduling of the meetings will have to work out, but I can do it. The committee might have to be understanding of my scheduling.
Do you know what's happening yet with your scheduling?
I have no idea what's happening with my scheduling.
They seem to be
So-
leaving that department alone for now.
Barbara, are you willing to be on this?
I'll be on it.
Did you get one of those emails?
Since it was my idea.
asking-
So you gotta be punished. Bringing up the idea.
So this is what Barbara and I get for suggesting tinkering
For
with the
saying we need
ordinance.
to do this.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a member at large on this?
No, that was the 2, that was the,
So we agreed to have
Jim
how many
and
members
this
on this
Betty
committee?
Vaughn.
5? Total committee
Yes.
was 5
Yes,
members?
5.
7.
7. It was 2 planning board, 2 conservation, a
Oh, yeah.
ZBA, and 2 members of the.
Okay, so I don't know who the
Conservation.
Concom members are. Who is that?
Evelyn and David Neiman.
So do we need a motion for all these positions to be entered into the committee?
Yes, probably,
So
because.
would you please make the motion? There's their names right there.
Right, so.
If you can read your own last name since I messed it up
At
spelling
least
it.
I know that one. All right, so I'm going to move to appoint Betty Vaughn and Jim Raymond, Bruce Buttrick, myself, Colleen Mayu, and Barbara Griffin, and Evelyn Miller and David Neiman as members of our Open Space Ordinance Subcommittee.
Second.
Okay, Colleen Mayo and Richard.
Gets us out of CIP.
So we got, and you guys are gonna elect your own chair, and what are we doing about minutes, Joanne? Somebody gonna take minutes for this?
I think we're gonna have to take our own minutes.
We're gonna
I
have to
think
take
they'll
minutes,
simplify
but we do not need to do a transcription.
No.
Who's there, discussed open space.
Well, the end result
adjourned.
is what's gonna matter, what the
Right, yeah,
writing is.
the
in the
minutes
end.
are not.
They're called
Yeah.
minutes for a reason. Not ours, right?
Okay. All those in favor of the committee members as presented by Colleen, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? The committee is established.
All
And
right, I'll come in tomorrow and talk to Patty, or tomorrow or Monday, and get an email distribution list put together, and then you and I can,
Yep. yes,
oh,
I think
that's
so.
right, the employees are not gonna be here because they have a holiday. I always forget holidays because they don't make any difference to me.
we don't get them.
And we'll figure out what will work for you for a first meeting.
Yep.
Joanne, when is the submission date for the February 27th meeting for applications?
So it's always 20 days prior.
So what's today's date?
So
It's typically the
13th.
Friday before, or right after the last.
So at this point, we
So-
are going to have an open agenda for February 27th, according to what I'm reading on our paper?
yes, so I wanted to ask you if you wanted to do the development regulations. And now you offered that night up to the county, for the county to present. But do you want to also start on the development regulations?
We need to.
Yeah,
So do we gonna,
we've been. kicking that.
2027 isn't becoming a joke anymore.
Yeah.
so, I'm just trying to get the night off.
You have to come take the night off. up.
Is there a way to
I used to
find
go
out
to
if the
ski.
county is going to come on the 27th?
There is.
If
but
they are going to come on the 27th, we'll schedule the
I don't
meeting.
know if he'll answer me now.
If they're not going to
Well,
come on the
you can do it
27th,
tomorrow.
if we're not going to come on the 27th for the county, does other members still want to come for development regulations?
We could cancel it.
I'm just trying to give everybody a night off because it gets so.
Yeah, that's all right.
I mean, the development regulations have been in the works for 3 years, I think another month. and
They can
that's
wait
all.
another 3 years.
I
Actually,
wasn't
I actually
planning-
want
really
them-
wasn't planning on that long.
I actually want them to be
Finalized?
finalized.
Yeah, yeah, we do sort of
There's
need-
stuff
Well,
in
can
there
we,
that,
can we fix the underground regulation for electricity before we finally submit them? Because it's us, it's development
I
regulations.
wrote it down.
Good.
I did
So-
too.
All right. So,
You know, I mean, one way to get us to finally do this is to just say, and maybe you and Joanne, at the next, like, we may or may not have new, you know, who knows what we're gonna have for March 13th, right? But
March 13th.
Well, right now
We
we
have
have
two
two. One of
applications.
them-
we have two,
Drive.
but they're old business, but what I mean is.
One of them's
there-
Acorn, so
Yeah,
it'd
that's-
be a parade of
Oh,
people
yeah,
that come up
yeah.
again.
But, you know, maybe, you know, start off by saying, everybody look at this particular, the definition section of the development regs and bring your comments to the meeting. Because it'll at least start people to look at it and
and doing
pick
it
some.
section by section is a good way to
And
get after
just,
it.
we can, and if we do it at the end of the meeting, nobody will want to spend a lot of time on it, so your changes will be great. And we will be able to get through, at least get started by picking whatever, I can't even remember what the first section is now.
So
No.
if you want the night off of the 27th, do you want me to ask the county
No, I want to see if they want to come in,
on the 13th?
because we're trying to accommodate them for
Yeah.
that really short schedule they've
Okay.
got.
Yeah, let's get it going.
So let's not delay them by pushing them out. And should they decide they are coming in for the 27th, you can bring the development regulations with you that night, and we can at least be pass them out to everybody, do
We
we have
did.
new copies yet?
We don't. We passed out the new copies
The edited
like
version.
2 months ago or
Yeah.
so. The only thing that's changed since then is that I think there was one minor change, and then the fire department, Tim did look at the cistern and some other fire
Did
related.
he change
And
something?
he made a few changes.
Uh,
So it's only like a couple pages.
So does everyone need to bring their old copy of the development regulation changes with them?
The copy that was handed out a few months ago. that's-
Everybody should check and see if they have one. If they don't have one, notify the planning office, and Joanne will bring copies for anyone who can't find their copy. Okay.
So after this is finally approved and we're using it, I'd like to propose that we update it annually after that. Like, as Joanne and I are working
Stop.
in,
That'd be work.
no, but it would be like
be
simple work. It
quicker.
would be like, listen, we've,
I'm just
you know,
kidding.
we're looking at something and we
Let it go.
see a regulation that we think
Yeah, we need
could
Yeah.
use some work. We present it to the board, and then at the end of the year, we can,
Do we have to hold public
Update.
hearings to
If you
change
keep-
development regs?
If you keep like a housekeeping list of like,
Yeah.
oh, this
Right.
was a problem, we gotta address it, and then, like, you know, a meeting like in March of every year, just say, okay, we're gonna, you know, handle these housekeeping things that have come up over the last year, then it doesn't
yeah,
turn
it's
into a
not this
major
all
reg-
over again.
Yeah, I think that's a good
What's this?
strategy.
So everybody,
9 years ago or
Second.
something?
Does anyone have any questions about I think there were 4 changes to the laws that I had mailed in your packet, not this time, but the time before, I believe.
have to look at them.
They had to do with housing and
Well, I mean, they are what
changes
they are.
that they were
Yeah.
proposing to make.
Well,
One
they
was
haven't,
about lot
they
sizing.
haven't been enacted on yet, have they?
No.
All right, but
These are
there's
just
huge
coming
support
up.
up there in the House and the Senate. So just for the record, Joanne, have you been contacted by any of our state representatives in regards to the proposed housing changes that will affect our zoning ordinance?
No, but I
Have you been contacted by our state senator in regards to the proposed zoning ordinance changes that are going to affect development in this town?
No.
Okay,
I wouldn't know him if I fell over.
Doesn't matter, it's the fact that they didn't reach out to you, which is
I did
important.
reach out to Joe Alexander on one of those housing bills and gave him some feedback about the ADU changing it to 950 when most people are asking for 1,000. I said, why did you choose 950? It's such an odd number. And he said it was sort of their way of trying to come to the middle instead of going to 1,000, that they thought that might be too much.
So what is the law regarding state law versus what towns can do? Can the town make a more, something more strict but not less strict? Is that the idea?
Yes.
So we would not be able to create larger lots if they set this maximum at 1.5.
Correct.
Right. Right.
So that destroys 3 zones in our town, the conservation zone, our agricultural zone.
And it's not just that, it's the fact that the state now is mandating what the towns can do as far as land use, or they're trying to.
Creating statewide zoning rather than letting
Exactly.
municipalities control how our community, because what is appropriate for Goffstown is very different than what's appropriate for Berlin and for,
Right.
whoever else.
And they're trying to make it a
When I
cookie
read
cutter for
the
whole
text,
state.
when I read the text in the proposed statute for the 1.5 acre lots, they deferred to the Department of Environmental Services for the sewage loading for a house only needs 1.5 acres for sewage loading for any house in the state of New Hampshire. They quoted a water rule number.
But how many bedrooms is that?
They didn't say it, just they said that according to the Department of Environmental Services, a lot is no lot needed larger than a 1.5 acre lot for a state-approved septic system, or
What
something to
about
that effect.
the wells, though?
Well, they already changed that, the overlapping wall radiuses.
But we've got Acorn very concerned about
Well,
wells.
I just went and took my septic license renewal class, and that was the topic of one of the topics was the well radiuses were all changed. Nothing about it.
I'm just
Politicians are driving
the
the
concerns that the neighborhoods are having, and like
They're valid
during the
concerns,
Acorn.
but the state is driving without
So
concern
guess
to
what,
local
then we
issues.
can tell the people when their wells go dry, they can go sue the state of New Hampshire, because they're the ones that set the new rules.
And
Not
they'll get
us.
nowhere, and they'll get nowhere.
Well, that's their problem.
Well, it's their problem because the state is
All right, do we have
proposing.
anything else for tonight from staff or members of the board? Phil?
No.
Second.
There you go.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, exemption. Motion passes. Thank you, GTV, we are adjourned.